All right, what's up, Black family? This is Mike, Super Mike, and doing a quick thing on separation. This is to try to get some of this, get some examples out on the process of separation and how that's going to actually work for Black folks. I'm gonna give you a very good example. Uh, First of all, why do we need to separate, and what does it look like? So we got examples. We got a lot of examples actually of separation. Hmm. Actually, I'm gonna do this. All right, so I want to read this first. On Facebook, I got a buddy, a debate buddy almost, but you know, me and the brother. I'll send this video to you, Alfred. But this is a good little question that he or comments that he kind of hit me up on. He posted this about, I mean, and this is actually from a, you know, this is from a white supremacist website, but that don't matter because if they got some information that's true, we do need to look at it. Uh, and that's the same guy who wrote it. This guy talking about how we kill each other here in the United States, and this is from the article was posted back in 2014. Pete Piper Heckles, whatever this is, he's a cartoonist. For this little American Free Press, which is a alt right website. And this the guy here, White Resistance News. You know, just Google his name, which that's what I did. Alt right TV. Pete Popper Hickle is, you know, that's his thing. So the point is, it's their job to make us look bad, feel bad about what's going on with ourselves. And it is bad. We're in a bad situation. But how do we fix this? All of our efforts to fix it in a situation where somebody else that hates you dominates and controls your resources that you need to survive. They control the permitting process, they control the laws, and they will manipulate those laws. You can vote, try to change, but then they'll change them back. This is their American system, so they, are going, which is the white people, and they know that their forefathers started this for them to inherit the wealth of it. And to them, we are a part of the wealth that they get to control. And we're sick of that. So our to enact our world, see, because what we're living in actually a system that the this is for white people. I mean, that's the whole thing. We ain't gonna change the thing. This is their culture. This is their little, Aryan nation. This is about, their Norse gods and their all of that, Swedish and Netherlands and Vikings, and that's not our stuff. That's their stuff. This is their world. This is their culture, and they're gonna fight for their culture. Their thing is about, cave people and stuff. Our thing is totally different. The black society is totally different, and we have a right to, you know, have a space that we can, you know, create our black society and defend our black society. All right. So in our black society, we can express it in different ways. So it's not about a religion. It's talking about our black society. So, you got the way black folks do everything is different from the way, maybe white folks will do it. So a white person could be a Muslim and an Arab person could be a Muslim, but a black person's going to have a different type of Islam and the way he express it. Christian, he's going to express his Christianity different. You know, any kind of spirituality. A white man will become a Buddhist, or a white man will become a he'll take your religion, your voodoo. He'll study a voodoo, but he's going to do it different. Okay, so this here is, we need a space that we can do our expression our way, the way it should be in our nature, in the black nature, in the aboriginal nature. Okay, so that's what this is about. So it's not about you calling yourself atheist, Hebrew Israelite. We're going to still have arguments, but our arguments are not going to be with, you know, with someone else benefiting in and instigating our arguments that has a hidden hand. So when we have our debates, it's going to be about the truth, the way that we do it. Okay, and it's going to be regulated, and that's going to be, that regulation is going to come from, you know, our conversations with each other. But first step, we have to understand the need for separation. So it's not about agreeing to your religion, this and that. So let me go into what Alfred was saying. So I made a response to what he said. I said, we are not our own worst enemy, because somebody said, this one hurts my heart. See, and that's what the point of Don O'Neill said, this one hurts my heart. We are our own worst enemy. The white supremacists, that's what they make shit like this for. Their whole thing is to kill your spirit. They don't want you to like yourself. They don't want you to see a potential. They don't want you to see a way out. Okay? Because what's going to have to happen for us to succeed, black people have to depend on other black people. We have to see ourselves as dependable. So what their objective is to paint you as your own worst enemy. You can't depend on yourself. You can't depend on other black people. They fuck up. You know, and that's the whole point of these type of, you know, smear campaigns on it. It may be the truth, but I can take your truth and use it as a weapon against you if I don't use balance in that truth. But anyway, so Don says this hurts my heart. Don, I'm personally tired of seeing it. So yeah, you getting depressed about your own people because we fucking up. Okay. But I put this here. So I said, and Alfred said, and no, we're not, we're not, their education impresses that on us. So we sometimes, so he kind of agreed with that. They are our worst enemy. So I agree with that. But yeah, I think Alfred just likes to argue with me. But that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Brings out the different ideas, so that's all good. So I put that we are not our own worst enemy. We are people who don't control our own resources. So we are subjected to the government that controls our resources. So like Marcus Garvey tried to tell us, Elijah Muhammad taught, is we have to take control of areas in this country. We can't fix ourselves when we don't control where we live. So, and yeah, now. So that's what I said. Alfred, you know, he kind of hit me up with some other stuff, and it's a lot of back and forth we went to. But I put on our project separation, and I just basically made him aware that, you know, we got millions of black folks out here trying to make this thing happen, but we have to separate. And he's saying how the program's not going to work and this and that. It's taking too long. You know, he been hearing about this since he was kids. Elijah Muhammad been teaching for 80 years. It ain't worked yet. And I told him, I was like, brother, you got to understand that this is a real process here. You're dealing with millions of people. People like you're going to argue with it. So we have to go through that whole process of people not believing it, not arguing. And we got to develop the people so that it organically grows inside the heart of the people. And then they just automatically move on the thing. See, the people who plant the seed are not the ones that's going to harvest that seed. So it's going to take generations. That's how our black society works. That's how it works. Okay, so you plant the seed, you ain't gonna see that uh, complete, but you will see a significant part of it. But you will train your children in the way that they should go into the process of the freedom in the road to freedom for our people. So our objective is to take some the southeastern states. So we got this. I'm gonna show that black folks already live here. This is where black folks live. And this is Alabama. This is Georgia. All right. We don't really want to take these states because we know that this global warming is going to kill a lot of people on here with the tidal waves and stuff. So we want to try to concentrate our people and focus first, taking these states. Alabama, we have the majority in most of the counties. Georgia, we got a lot of black money there, and we could control those states actually now. So right now, our problem is the mindset of the people. And this here, our black folks, we kind of spread out all over the country, and we getting abused, beat, killed. We look at us, we all. But here, this is what we eventually want to have. 50 to 60 years, we want to control all that, this whole thing, and more. But right now, we dominate numerically in Alabama and Georgia. Why don't we focus on taking those states? Buy your property down there, black people. All right. So that's the project, and that is the project separation. So the point is, I told him all that. He argued with it, and that's cool. So it inspired me to do this video. So Alpha DeRosa, that's for you, brother. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go through this now. Let me show you now. Here's another. Now, the reason why I told you because I know Alfred's gonna. I'm gonna give y'all a an example, but it's an example from white people, and these white people have they have a what's called a bad name, and just because somebody has a bad name, we're not looking at what their little problems are. I'm looking at a specific thing that they did that we can do. But these people have a bad name in American society at this point. But they are white people, and they have taken over an area. So just like we got a white supremacist website, but they got some real information here. That's true, but we can balance this out. Here we go. We got in Clearwater, Florida. In Clearwater, Florida, these the city council is mad because the Scientology people have taken over their city. Clear takeover. How Scientology doubled down its Clearwater footprint in 3 years. Now keep in mind, these people in this little Scientology thing, these are American citizens, but because they want to demonize them and they've demonized that little church Scientology, they say Scientologies did it. But I want y'all to look at this. These people in 1975 they bought this hotel. How long ago is 75? That is like 49 years ago. 1975. This is one town in Florida. They bought this hotel. Okay. The church campus grew slowly over decades. Its members bought property on surrounding blocks. The church campus grew slowly over decades. See, so this church, it was a religious thing, but it had a plan. It was encouraging people, come by here, let's control this. So look at that. More stuff. They bought the membership, bought properties. This is important. This is what we do here. Who's gonna stop you from buying property? Who's gonna stop you? Look at that. In Clearwater, Florida. So these are the properties that the membership brought because the church bought this little hotel here. In 2017, companies controlled by parishioners. See, they bought properties and started businesses and companies. 2017, companies controlled by parishioners began buying retail property at an unprecedented rate. So in 2017, they went straight at it now. They doubled the church footprint in less than 3 years. Look at that. This is the city. This is the overview of Clearwater, Florida. They control this city now. Look at that. The impact is clearest in the heart of downtown. That is the downtown. They control the heart of this city. This is the financial district of this city. And this is how you control something. And this is how you separate. Take away the church's footprint, a few condo towers, and all the buildings owned by the government. So look at how little is left. So everything, this is, you took away the whole church. So all of these buildings are owned by non-church members. This is downtown. Nothing. Everything else is people in the Scientology or the church itself. Then walk down Cleveland Street, which is the heart of downtown's main thoroughfare. See, this is all their buildings. But this, how long did this take? 49 years, 50 years up to the waterfront. This is a city. These boats, these are people in the Scientology thing. So now they go through here. The Church of Scientology spent 103 million. Basically, they had an argument. What prompted this story is the people in 2016 or 17, the city council in Clearwater, they had some kind of argument about the direction of the city and how to bring money into downtown Clearwater, Florida. They had a difference with the church because the church basically runs that city. For the most part, that church runs that city. Scientology church people. They didn't agree with what the Scientology people wanted, so the Scientology shut them down. And what the Scientology people did, instead of arguing further with that city county council, they stopped communicating with them completely. But the city council did not understand what the plans. They created a plan. They said, we're going to just completely take this city. So they got together muscled together their whatever they had and their resources and their people. See, it takes people. They bought all that. And now they completely damn near control that city. So now the Tampa Bay Times is the only newspaper there. They're pissed. And so, this is a negative story about Scientology buying the city. But these are, like I said, these are American citizens. They gain power, and they're enforcing that power. And that's how you do it. You control it. And once you have dominance, you don't fall for little trash arguments from your competitors who get mad because you got some dominance. So this is one of the city managers, city council meetings, and they mad and they just didn't have the force to take over. They didn't understand what was going on. Bottom line is the first Scientology city, they got 30,000 worldwide, I guess, members, more than 30,000 worldwide. Anyway, that's all some other stuff. The point is, they took over that city. Black America, please take note. This is their little negative thing. And just to show you, where the hell is it? Let me see. We're going to do this. Oh, sorry. Here it is. So the Scientology made a response to that Times video or hit piece on their controlling Clearwater, Florida, and basically, they just kind of hit them up point for point. They talk about the whole long history, and basically, I think let's see, I think it is here. Yeah, their main issue was this piece of property. The city blocked them. The Scientology have a plan for the city, for their footprint on the city. They bought this building. They wanted an adjacent property, this property that was connected to this building that they own, but the city blocked them from giving it. They blocked them from buying it. And that's what made the Scientology people get mad and buy every freaking thing else. They bought everything else. They paid sometimes 4 times more than what the property was worth just to control it. See, And those are the type of lessons that the black folks need to study and control. That's how you take control of something. You just move in there and you buy it. We got the money to do that, but we have to do it through an organization. And that's the thing that these people did. They have an organization, and they created that organization, and they move on that organization. It's military style. They don't argue about every single thing. And when they do argue, it's within their circle. And by the time they come out of that circle, it's a one united move. Okay. So all of that needs to be studied. Here we go. Another example of separation. 5 biggest Chinatowns in the US. Number one, they had that whole city. Uh, they have basically cities within cities. If you're in a big city, you don't have a Chinatown, it's weird. So they saying that San Francisco is pretty much one. Look at this, Honolulu, Hawaii. A big Chinatown there on that island. They're controlling that island. That's China. They're going to take over that island. See, these are people who have the science. They know how to separate. They know how to control territory. And this is a subject, this is a science that as a collective, black folks had to be taught. And Elijah Muhammad taught us how to do this. Even if you're not a Muslim, you know that the Muslims talk about separation. And this is how it's done. And we had to have the moral authority first. This question about yada yada. So this is not a yada yada. You should read this whole thing. But this is what the Muslims want. But we're going to focus here. Since we can't get, we want equality with the best in civilized society. We want equal membership in society with the best, not the trailer park folks, the best in civilized society. Since they don't want to give us that, we want our people in America, ADOS, whose parents or grandparents. So no, so it goes back to your parents or your grandparents was black, were descendants from slaves to be their own, to allow to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land, and that it must be minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs for the separate territory in the next 20, 25 years until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. Now, the white man may say, hell no, we're not giving you that. So it doesn't stop us from building our own power. We just have to build it a little slower. And they're going to try to frustrate our efforts. And all of this is about dominance. Because now that we know what to do, this is a science that we should study. Dominance hierarchy. A dominance hierarchy is the overall collection of network dominance relationships among pairs of individual in a group. So they got all of these different points of the study, and basically the reason why you got in our what we're dealing with in the white man society is they are the alpha male. They are the only male who is allowed to be a man and to exercise the absolute dominance. Okay, so that's why the police like to come up on you, violate your rights, especially if you a black person who have a little money. They like to assert their dominance over you. And they enjoy that because right now they're taking a lot of L's on some other categories, which we will go to later. The point is, that's what that is about. Um, hit this up. Done with that. Yeah. So this is what we're dealing with. America, I believe in separation for the survival of American blacks. It's not about religion. We have to separate. See how this is? Chinese people, they control territories. They set it up in their culture. This is what they're comfortable with. They don't have to learn English here. See, you go to these Chinatowns, these people don't even know English. These old Asian people, they set this whole thing up. Look at that. You see some English, but it's under this they stuff. I wouldn't eat nothing out of here. I wouldn't eat shit out of here because they have all types of cats, rats, dogs, I don't eat that shit. But you see, their city streets are pretty clean, even though they got some stuff. That's I think this is eh, hell no, I don't eat that shit. Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Washington only got like 700,000 people. San Francisco. Oh, where's this at? Oh, this is Chicago. San Francisco. See, they created their own enclaves. They can protect themselves. They got their own banks. They got their own apartments. They can ship their people in from China, and they got a place to stay. They kick the black folks out. Look at that. This is their thing. They like this. This is what they want. They want that. They can be themselves. They can protect themselves. Who the police? It's Chinese police. It's Chinese business regulators. They got their own form of politics that we don't know nothing about. They solve their own problems. They get money to their people. They get jobs to their people. They clean their own streets. All of the stuff that they need is done by Chinese people. They are aggressive with that, and they're gonna keep you out. These are your models of separation methods. Okay, so these things can be done, black people, and we know how to do it now. We know how to do it, but the problem is now. I mean, the man taught us how to do it. You can look at the Muslims. A lot of y'all say, "Oh, don't Muslims stay unto themselves?" No, we don't. But we eventually will when we create that culture, because as we separate from the coon types, the folks who want to sell us out or want to just hang on to the white man's, you know, titty. And when I say titty, because we feeding off America, we depending on systems. We get in trouble. We feel we got to call a police. If we, single mothers, we got to call their welfare. We got to depend on their little FBI for investigating. We have professionals that can do every last one of these jobs. So the biggest problem is us trusting ourselves and defending ourselves. So we have to raise a generation that will trust black folks to solve all the problems for black folks. We don't need their help. If we mess it up, we messed it up, we fixed it. And that's how it is. It just is what it is. We figure out how to fix it. And we got to suffer through that developing ourselves. So, that's what it is. That's just my little thing on separation. I think I had one other issue, but I think that's it. Let me play what the minister said here. Now, I'm a Muslim with the Nation of Islam, but I ain't here to convert nobody. I don't believe in converting people. You can call yourself what you want, but there's one truth as far as facts that we can all see. So we can argue about whatever, and as we start seeing facts, then we end up kind of agreeing on stuff. But let's look at what the minister said on this point. He's gonna go over Thomas Jefferson and uh, some other people.
On their children, but to make sure that the children understood the lesson. Listen to what President Thomas Jefferson says. Listen to his words. Deep-rooted prejudices entertained by the whites. You got that? 10,000 recollections by the blacks of the injuries they have sustained. New provocations, the real distinctions which nature has made, and many other circumstances will divide us into parties and produce convulsions which will probably never end, but in the extermination of the one or the other race.
Thomas was right. You see that.
That's what one of the founding fathers said. Again, Jefferson said, nothing is more certainly in the book of fate that these people, meaning us, are to be free, nor is it less certain that the two races equally free cannot live in the same government.
Now that's a big one. You see, black society and white society are so different. They think differently than us, and this is a consistent thing. Their whole culture, the ice age, the fact that they're coming from the cave situation, their whole Aryan religious ceremonies, their Norse gods, their Odin and all of that kind of stuff, the way that they do Christianity and their Catholicism, uh, all of their pagan religions and their dragon like Dracula and all of this type of these are their history. They love that stuff. Okay, we're not going to take them out of that. All that Aryanism and Hitler was their hero, and this you ain't gonna separate white people from this stuff. This is what they love. This is the stuff that's woven into their ancient history. They love it. Okay. Now, even though they tried to separate us from what's woven into our DNA, okay, which is our black society, our original people, our Egyptian, or Chemician science, our sacred mindset of balance, our ma'at, the type of society that we are comfortable in. If you look at how the Moors, we love education, we love science, we love building, we love balance, we love happiness, we love to be friendly. Okay, these are the type of things that we love to do. We love using our mind. We love intelligent debate. We enjoy this stuff. We're not here to be murdering everybody. We don't live off of murder and stealing and lying and all that kind of stuff. We don't survive like that. We survive by a balance with nature, right? So this is in our DNA. Even though they wiped our minds clean, they couldn't take it out of us because we're different. We have a different origin, okay? A different type of society that we're comfortable in, okay? And that's the same with Asians. That's the same with the different uh, peoples that have split, that God has allowed to split around this planet, that are unique peoples. Okay, so it's not our job to try to change those folks. We don't, that's not our culture, black people, to try to bend other groups into what we want them to be. That's not our culture. We let them have their space on the earth, but we got to have our space on the earth. Okay? We got to have this. It's not about hating nobody. Once this happens and we're able to defend, white people are bound to attack you. We will have to. That's why we would need, a large amount of our people to do this, because we would have to man every level of government. Okay, every level of rulership, from education to police to National Guard, all these type of things. We would have to man all of that in our areas because we would have to defend ourselves. But you will see that these tensions will reduce themselves. They'll still be there because we can look in history and see that even when we had our own societies and everything, we were running things with the Moors in Spain and other stuff. These people constantly want to come try to disrupt what you got going on. But as long as we keep our history to ourselves and knowledge, then they won't be able to do that. And so I think that's pretty much. Let me go. Let's hit it up some more. I think he got another part that's very important with the minister saying.
Jefferson went on. He said blacks should be colonized. Just a moment, Tom. We're not going for that part. But I'm just telling you what he said. We should be colonized to such place as the circumstances of the time should render most properly, sending them out with arms. And look at what the president's saying. We can't let the Negroes go and not arm them. But the Israelis want a peace deal with the Palestinians that the Palestinians have no arms. But this is a reasonable white man who recognizes the evil that has been done, was being done, and continues to be done to us. Look